The modern world continues to offer new gadgets to make our lives easier. From cell phones to tablets and state-of-the-art computers, the digital world remains in the palm of our hands. Today, technology has greatly increased the average person's ability to affordably and anonymously access an almost endless array of addictive substances and activities.
With the onset of the internet, what we've seen is a dramatic increase in pornography addiction among teens, where this type of material is now available within seconds on any type of handheld device. So we're seeing a dramatic increase in the number of youth who are struggling with addiction to pornography.
Particularly over the course of approximately the last 2 decades, the availability of pornography makes it readily available to be used as a dependency. Like anything else that becomes a dependency, while there may be some level of genuinely accepted use, as soon as the use of that dependency brings a sense of normalcy to an individual's life, and it's necessary to have that dependency in their life, to have that sense of normalcy, then that's when there is a problem.
Too many youth today have developed a dependency to being entertained by their technology and have lost the ability to manage the emotional demands of their lives without escaping into technology.
Technology today has been so helpful to us in so many ways, but of course there's a downside to it as well. The downside is that it's given youth today an opportunity to hide the pornography that they may be looking at in a more sophisticated way. Back years ago, we had to hide magazines and videos. Now all we have to do is put a passcode on our phone and nobody can access or see what we have been looking at.
Adolescents really do have developmental tasks that they have to accomplish. And if I get stuck using a dependency, particularly a sexual dependency, as a means of keeping me in a place where I'm not growing up, then I am not actually going to learn the skills, I'm not going to actually create the stable identity that I need in order to move on to manage the expectations that I would have as an independently responsible young adult.
Star Guide's Wilderness Therapy for Sexual Behavior Issues is the first treatment of its kind nationally. Based in St. George, Utah, the program provides teens and young adults with a high-impact, life-changing therapeutic wilderness experience.
Star Guides Wilderness is a specialized outdoor therapy program that treats teens and young adults who are struggling with compulsive sexual behavior problems.
There are 3 dependencies, 3 primary groups of dependencies that adolescents tend to accumulate in their lives and keep them on a less mature place. There would be human dependencies, there would be traditional dependencies, substance use, those kinds of things, and process dependencies. Those process dependencies are the types of things that tend to take place in cyberspace, of which one, pornography dependency, the sexual compulsive kinds of behaviors that stem from that, that's one of those dependencies as well. The difficulty with adolescents who accumulate these dependencies is that their competency actually comes from their ability to maintain dependencies. The wilderness is particularly masterful in its capacity to help them formulate new competencies and break the dynamic in which they have a reliance upon the other dependencies that they have accumulated that keeps them in a less mature and a maladaptive means of dealing with the world.
And what we have the ability to do at Star Guides is completely unplug them from all technology and allow them to learn to disrupt those addictions that they've developed, which have really become a coping style for the way they deal with life problems.
We require students to live off of the land because it actually gives them an opportunity to feel confident, to feel competent in something that they never thought that they could do before. If we made it easy to just give them a lighter to make a fire, they would miss out on opportunities to really challenge themselves, to work through a problem, and to feel capable at the end of it. So we don't cook as a group. They cook their own food. If it's burnt, then they only have themselves to blame. That's an aspect of responsibility here. They carry everything with them. So if they haven't rolled their pack in an appropriate way and it falls apart on a hike, they again don't have anybody to blame but themselves. And that gives them the opportunity to learn how capable they really are, whereas before they relied on technology, on other people, and they didn't have the opportunity really to learn how they can care for themselves.
Youth are no longer able to avoid responsibility by hiding behind their technology, and they experience an immediate disruption to the problematic sexual behaviors.
The key component here, and I really cannot stress this enough, it must be disruption. So yes, there is an inherent component of disruption in just bringing a student out here. Obviously, this is an environment which they have not encountered in the past. And they're also not used to encountering themselves as being fully responsible for whatever needs they might have in this situation. So the wilderness, again, is perfect because, once again, in a situation like this where it's raining, there is not going to be anyone that's going to show up and say, oh, here's your umbrella and your raincoat. No, not at all. Like, if I need to be dry, I've got to be the guy that figures that out.
The wilderness creates an impact on young lives far greater than what outpatient treatment, incarceration, or residential treatment can provide.
All of a sudden, they are found with just themselves, and also having to learn that by themselves they are enough. It's enough to be by themselves.
Well, there's something about residing in a wilderness setting that brings somebody to their core. It kind of reveals a person for who they are, for the good and the bad. And unlike any other environment or treatment setting, the wilderness has that ability to unmask a person and to identify the issues, the underlying issues in their life that are feeding the addictive behaviors. It helps them to be open and honest and to begin to recognize the need for change.
For more information, visit www.starguideswilderness.com.